She hasn't texted you back. Hours have passed. You keep checking your phone, wondering what went wrong. Your mind starts racing. Did I say something off? Was I too eager? The silence feels louder than words, and in that moment, most guys do the same thing. They panic, they double text, they scroll back through every message looking for clues. They start overanalyzing, overthinking, and slowly, without even realizing it, they start giving away their power. But what if I told you? The power isn't in reacting. It's in doing absolutely nothing. See, most men were never taught how to sit with discomfort, especially when it comes from a woman pulling away. Society conditions you to chase, to fix, to prove yourself. But the truth is, real strength is shown in your ability to pause, observe, and stay unmoved. This video is going to change how you respond the next time a woman ignores you. And no, it's not about being cold or manipulative, it's about becoming unshakable. We're talking stoic power, the kind of inner strength that makes people wonder what's going on in your head, not the other way around. Let's be real for a second. If her silence makes you spiral, she's not the problem. Your emotional discipline is. Ask yourself, why do you feel the urge to chase when she pulls away? What if her silence was actually a test, and your reaction reveals more about you than her interest ever could? In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you why her ignoring you might not even be about you. The one mindset shift that immediately puts you back in control, and how to reverse the emotional dynamic without saying a word. This isn't about revenge, it's about presence. This is where your transformation starts. Because when you stop handing over your emotional power every time someone pulls away, you start becoming the kind of man who attracts attention effortlessly, not because he chases, but because he doesn't have to. Stay with me, because once you understand how to act when a woman ignores you, it's not her ego that survives. It's yours. Welcome to the irresistible effect. The moment a woman goes quiet, our brains go into detective mode. Maybe she lost interest. Maybe she found someone else. Was it something I said? You start running simulations in your head, replaying your last interaction, wondering if your message sounded too needy, too dry, or too interested. But here's the harsh truth. You'll never know for sure. And more importantly, it doesn't matter. See, when a woman ignores you, there are countless possible reasons. She's testing your emotional resilience. She's overwhelmed or distracted. She's playing games. She's genuinely losing interest. But fixating on why is like trying to solve a puzzle where the pieces keep changing. And the more energy you put into decoding her silence, the more power you give away. Here's what matters more. How do you respond? Because if her silence can shake your entire confidence, then you're already putting her on a pedestal. And women can sense that energy, that desperation, that need to be validated. Now let's flip it. What if instead of spiraling, you embrace the silence? What if you told yourself, this isn't rejection, this is information, and I don't need to chase clarity to feel confident? That's the Stoic approach. A woman's silence isn't a crisis, it's a chance to show emotional mastery. Let's break down the truth here. Women don't lose interest because you didn't say the perfect line. They lose interest when they feel you're no longer centered, that you need their attention to feel whole. And on the flip side, when you remain grounded, when you don't react or chase or beg for answers, it confuses them. Because most guys fold, you're not most guys. It's also worth remembering that sometimes her silence has nothing to do with you at all. Maybe she's caught up in her own life, maybe she's emotionally unavailable, or maybe she's not the one. And that's fine too. Your job is not to decode her behavior like a puzzle master. Your job is to keep showing up as the best version of you, regardless of who comes or goes. Because the man who doesn't chase, the man who keeps his cool when things go quiet, that's the man who becomes magnetic. Remember, you don't need to know why she's ignoring you. You only need to know how not to lose yourself because of it. So next time she goes quiet, don't dive into overthinking mode. Don't start rewriting messages. Don't jump on Reddit looking for hidden meanings. Instead, lean back. Say nothing. Let silence do the talking. Because that's what confidence sounds like. It's quiet, composed, and completely unbothered. Here's where most guys lose the game without even realizing it, the moment they react emotionally. She pulls away and you panic. You send a follow-up text, then another. Maybe you check her stories obsessively, wondering if she's online. Maybe you even throw a subtle jab trying to get a response. And just like that, you've handed her the power. Let me tell you something real. Emotional reaction is the biggest red flag of insecurity. When you respond out of fear of losing her, fear of being alone, fear of not being enough, you become predictable, and predictable is not attractive. Women might not always be conscious of it, but they feel when a man is shaken. when he's desperate for connection, when he's emotionally exposed, and once that's sensed, attraction dies. Fast. Let's paint a quick scenario. There's a guy named Marcus. He meets a girl, they vibe, everything's flowing. But then she starts pulling back. Instead of holding frame, Marcus spirals. He texts her every morning, likes all her posts, even asks, "Did I do something wrong?" And just like that, he confirms her suspicion. He needed her more than she needed him. Game over. Now imagine another version of Marcus. Same girl, same vibe, same sudden silence. But this time, he says nothing. He focuses on his fitness, his work, his passion. He stays calm, he stays centered. And guess what happens? She notices, she wonders. She checks his profile because silence, when backed by strength, becomes magnetic. That's the cost of reacting emotionally. You not only lose her attention, you lose your self-respect. But here's what's worse. When you chase, beg, or fold under pressure, you reinforce to yourself that you're not enough. You create a loop where every rejection hits harder because you keep giving it more meaning than it deserves. That's how guys spiral into anxiety, depression, and emotional burnout. Not because she ignored them, but because they made her the center of their emotional world. You want power? Then stop making her the prize. Here's the truth. No woman, no situation, no silence should have the power to disrupt your inner peace. When you learn to control your reactions, you start to control outcomes. Not because you manipulate, because you lead. And the man who can lead himself through discomfort, that's the man who becomes irresistible. Let's talk about real power. Not the kind that's loud or flashy. I'm talking about inner power. The kind that doesn't flinch when someone goes silent, disappears, or tries to trigger a reaction. That power comes from emotional detachment. And no, detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you've mastered how much access your emotions give away. It means you don't make her attention the source of your self-worth. This is where Stoicism becomes your greatest weapon. The Stoics believe that we should focus only on what we can control and completely release what we can't. Can you control whether she texts you back? No. But can you control how you respond, how you carry yourself, and what energy you move in? Absolutely. And here's the irony. When you stop trying to pull her back, that's when she often comes closer. Why? Because now you've stopped being the pursuer, you've become the standard, you've moved from validation seeker to value provider. And women feel that shift on a deep primal level. When you no longer look at them like the prize, but rather focus on becoming the prize, everything changes. Detachment is magnetic because it signals self-sufficiency. It tells the world, I'm good with or without your validation. And that energy? It's rare, it's powerful, it's unforgettable. Here's a little truth bomb. Most women are surrounded by men who chase, react, and fold. But the moment she meets a man who can sit with silence, who doesn't need to fill the gap with attention-seeking behavior, that man stands out, that man is remembered. So if you're watching this and thinking, man, this is what I needed to hear today, do me a favor, hit that like button right now. Not just for the algorithm, but as a promise to yourself, a commitment that you're done reacting, that from this moment forward, you lead with calm, not chaos. You're tuned into the irresistible effect, where detachment isn't cold, it's powerful. When you stop reacting to every silence, you create space. And in that space, she starts to feel your absence. And trust me, that absence will echo louder than any message you could send. Silence plus self-control. Equal sign, irresistible energy. You don't chase power, you attract it by choosing peace. Here's what most people don't realize. Silence speaks. When you don't respond to someone's behavior, especially behavior meant to trigger you, you flip the entire script. Your non-reaction becomes the reaction. That's reverse psychology at its finest. You see, when a woman starts ignoring you, she might not even know why she's doing it. Sometimes it's to test you. Sometimes it's because she's unsure. Sometimes it's just emotional turbulence on her end. But what she expects is for you to fold, to seek closure, to prove yourself, to chase. When you don't, when you stay calm, grounded, and mysteriously unbothered, it creates a powerful tension. Suddenly, she's the one feeling uncertain. Why isn't he reacting? Did he lose interest? Was I not that special after all? And now you're in her head. This is how emotional gravity shifts, without you needing to do anything extra. Just by refusing to play the game, you're already winning it. Most men think they need to win her back by doing more texts, more attention, more validation. But what actually works? Doing less, saying less, giving less. Because here's the truth. Your absence triggers more reflection than your presence ever could. Women are naturally intuitive. They notice shifts in energy. If you used to react instantly and now you don't, that silence becomes a mirror. And in that mirror, she starts to question her value. This is not manipulation, it's self-control. You're not ignoring to punish, you're ignoring because her actions no longer qualify for your energy. And in that quiet shift, you reverse the dynamic. Here's the beauty of it. You don't need to say anything clever, you don't need to craft the perfect message, you don't need to prove your worth. You just need to stop reacting and let your silence do the talking. One day of silence won't do it, two might not either, but over time the pattern breaks. She starts to realize she's not being chased. And that unfamiliar feeling, it often makes her chase you. Remember, silence is not weak, it's strategic, it's powerful, it's unexpected. So next time you feel the urge to react, post, or reach out, ask yourself, what if the loudest message is the one I don't send? Alright, let's get tactical. You've embraced the silence, you're not reacting emotionally, but now you're wondering, what exactly should I be doing when she ignores me? This is where strategy meets self-respect. Here are your practical power moves when a woman pulls away. 1. Initiate the 48-hour freeze. The first 48 hours after silence are the most critical. No texting, no calling, no stalking her profile, just disappear. Let your absence speak volumes. This isn't ghosting, it's grounding. You're giving her space and giving yourself clarity. That urge to send a just checking in text, that's weakness talking. Ignore it. Sit in the silence and let her wonder where you went. 1. Redirect your attention. Shift your focus completely. Hit the gym, work on that side hustle, reconnect with your friends. The goal here is simple. Build momentum in your life so you're not waiting for her energy to return. Every minute you spend wondering why isn't she texting me is a minute wasted becoming the kind of man she regrets losing. You don't need to fill the gap she left. You need to level up so that gap becomes irrelevant. 1. Audit your social media and use it strategically. No, I'm not saying post thirst traps, but if you're going to be visible, be intentional. Post with purpose. Share your progress. Highlight your lifestyle. Not to get her attention, but to reinforce your own growth narrative. Your story shouldn't be, I'm waiting, it should be, I'm evolving. Your digital presence should make one thing clear, you're not paused, you're progressing. 1. Control your digital access. If you catch yourself checking her stories, wondering if she's watching yours, turn off notifications or mute her. This isn't being petty, it's being powerful. You are protecting your emotional bandwidth. The man who protects his attention is dangerous because he's not easy to reach. 1. Practice emotional reversal. Here's the mindset flip. Instead of thinking, why isn't she texting me? Start asking, why would I want to re-engage with someone who's not choosing me with clarity? That's when you unlock emotional detachment. That's when you shift from seeker to selector. And guess what? Women can sense when your attention is no longer guaranteed. That's when the energy flips. That's when she starts checking your page. That's when she starts to wonder. And here's the real win. If she does come back, you're not crawling back. You're evaluating. Does this align with my standards now? So remember this. When a woman ignores you, she's creating a vacuum. How you fill that vacuum determines whether you come back stronger or stay stuck in the same cycle. Silence isn't empty. It's full of decisions. Make sure yours say, I'm good with or without you. Because that's when she realizes, losing your attention might have been her biggest mistake. Let's get real for a second. If you've made it this far, then deep down, you already know the truth. The way you respond to silence, rejection, or uncertainty, it defines you far more than the wins ever will. Most men crumble when they feel ignored. They chase, they plead. They try to fix something that was never theirs to control. But the man who pauses, reflects, and stays grounded, he doesn't just win in relationships, he wins in life. Because emotional control isn't just about dating, it's about self-mastery. When you stop reacting to what doesn't serve you, your energy starts attracting what does. You no longer seek validation, you radiate it. You no longer chase clarity, you become clear within yourself. That's the moment everything changes. It's the man who can be calm in chaos that others look up to. Not because he talks louder, but because he needs nothing from anyone to feel whole. And look, this isn't a magic trick, it's a practice. You're not going to get it perfect every time. You'll slip, you'll feel tempted to reach out, but every time you don't, you're building discipline. And that discipline becomes confidence. You don't build power by being chosen, you build power by choosing yourself. So next time you're sitting there, staring at your phone, waiting for that message that may never come, flip the script. Ask yourself, who am I becoming in this silence? Because every ignored text, every moment of doubt, every emotional trigger, that's not rejection, that's training. And if you train correctly, you stop playing the game, and start setting the rules. You become a man who doesn't break when someone disappears. You become a man who leads with presence, and that's when the world starts responding differently to you. If this video gave you that shift, that moment of, damn, I needed this, then don't just keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button, join the movement, share this with another man who needs to hear it. This is the irresistible effect, and around here we don't chase, we lead. Remember, mastering your emotions isn't a one-time win, it's a lifestyle. The stronger you become within, the less you'll be shaken by what's happening around you. Master your emotions, master your life.